Hey there, hi there, ho there, hello there, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we bring you the joy and excitement of UofL women's athletics on a weekly basis. We try weekly anyway. And today we have another great show lined up for you with basketball results for the women, and also we have some volleyball results in there. We'll kind of see what else pops up on the ledger as we go through the broadcast. But uh, a small crew today, just Jeff and I, a return, sir, if you will, back to the days in the basement on a hill, where Jeff and I used to be in there with the uh, old WCHQ radio show where we were on about the same time, and it was usually us, an engineer, and a dog. And
Good dog. They're all good dogs, but
yeah,
Pumpkin was a good dog.
Pumpkin was a great dog, and Pumpkin
Yeah.
would listen intently. But yeah, those were good games. I ran into Bryce Gill the other day, who
hmm
used to be part of that morning show there,
hmm
and saw him, and he just looks like he's happy. He's living the time of his life now. He's happy and all. He grew a nice bushy beard, and he's
Nice.
yeah, he's into it. I don't know what happened to Kevin. I haven't seen Kevin in a long time. I actually had Kevin do some work for me uh, a while back on
Yeah.
the porch at my rental.
Yep.
He did masonry work and did a really good job on it. But anyway, hey, enough of that. We're here to talk women's athletics, right?
Right.
So get
We're
the cat.
officially in the fall winter overlap now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
there where we don't have any field hockey to bring you. We don't have any of that at all. We don't have any women's soccer news to bring you because both of those teams have completed their season. Anticipating a little softball and lacrosse around the corner, but not there just yet. So we're basketball and volleyball, and hey, that's fine with me, and I'm sure that's fine with you, Jeff.
Yep. Yep. That's pretty much my two favorite. Maybe softball in there. You know, but
Yeah, yeah, softball can be a
yeah,
fun
yeah.
experience out there, especially if it's a nice kind of spring day, and it's
Yeah.
they open the window a little bit to get the air in, and
Oh, that's so wonderful when they do that.
yeah, and you're just kind of sitting up there, and they usually put the Cardinal couple representative whoever's there over in that left corner where you can kind of look at and see what's going on down
Yeah.
the third baseline and everything, and that's fun. I miss that. I hope to get back to it this year.
Yeah.
Get out there and catch a few games. I know that Lori's asking about me all the time, so
hmm
we'll be happy to go back out there and see things. But hey, we had two activities take place last night, sir.
Yeah, and
Uh,
yeah, as we said, as we're in the overlap period, they overlapped last night. So that's always
yes,
fun.
yes, they did. As the Again, we'll go ahead and start it out with volleyball. I guess it'd be
Yeah,
might as
it
well.
did start first, so
Yeah, they did get the start underway first. In fact, they showed a little bit just briefly on the big screen at the Yum Center last night.
Yeah, they threw it up a few times. Threw it up there during warm-ups for basketball when
Yeah,
they'll do various announcements and stuff and various promos and kind of when there was dead space in between them, they kind of toss that up there to let people keep up with it a little bit. And then like one of the early timeouts before the volleyball match was over. They didn't get to do it much during the basketball game because the volleyball match didn't last that long. Spoiler. So yeah, so the volleyball it was a sweep. I don't have the set scores in front of me right now, but it was a sweep. Uh, Not a particularly competitive one. I don't think anybody particularly expected this to be very competitive to
yeah,
begin with. So
the days of Syracuse's strength, I guess, back in I guess the Yellen days, probably, huh?
yeah,
When they were,
yeah, yeah,
but did,
somewhat.
did, did he ever
They,
really build it that big, though? I mean,
Not that they were never a powerhouse, but they they had they were kind of like I would describe like I describe Miami a lot. You know, they're never consistently good over like the course of a whole season, but occasionally they would reach up and punch somebody. Well, that is hasn't even been the case for Syracuse in the past couple of years. Uh, but still definitely the case for Miami. But let's see, Go Kart site has not updated for what happened last night, so that's not fun.
The Cards did take a sweep, as you mentioned, on them. They go to 12-1 in the ACC now, atop the conference, and 20-3 overall. Taking the straightforward sets 25-17, 25-18, and 25-15
Yep.
in that third set. So Cards were on a roll, and Anna DeBeer, big effort from her last night. She had, I think, 13 kills, if I read that correctly.
Yeah. Yep. I finally got stats up. Yeah, 13 kills for her. 385 is a good hitting percentage. You know, 3 service aces. She had was pretty good. Solo
Yeah.
block. It's pretty good. 8 digs. It's good. Yeah. I mean, she's just such a good all around player now. I mean, she's been good for a long time, but she really stepped it. Amusingly, about the time she started wearing leggings rather than shorts, she really kind of stepped up her game. I don't know if there's really any connection there, but there certainly is a correlation. So, you know.
Okay. There you go. It's an earmark. I wonder if anybody's told her about that.
I don't know. I think some people probably joked about it some, but yeah, she's really early in the season. She just kind of had a little bit of a slump, particularly in passings, digging and passing. But she's really, I don't know if she's put some effort into it, but really stepped it up and made it a solid part of her game again.
She said, "I'm going to put the pants on for this team and stand back and watch me play now."
Right.
Very nice person. Very, very nice person to
Yeah.
talk to.
Yeah, it's always been a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah.
But the Cards were not on campus or even down in the Yum Center. The basketball was down there. They were up in Syracuse for this match, going up to visit the Orange and the Orange Lair up there. Was that one actually in the dome there, Jeff?
No, Lord, no. they
Okay,
play in a gym that seats about 500 people, maybe.
Okay, so kind of
Yeah.
like our LNFCU kind of deal.
Yeah, it's smaller. Yeah,
Maybe even smaller
yeah,
than that. Wow.
yeah. It's not much.
But
Yeah.
they invited the Cards in there to play it, and Louisville won the first set pretty easily here, 25-17 from the recap on it. I think they jumped out early, Anna DeBeer getting 3 quick points off the serves to begin the match, and then Louisville put the Orange in a kind of hole early. Syracuse, I think, got within 2 later in the match, but never did really challenge after that. The Cards led at one time 16-9, and they cut it to 4 on Louisville before the Cards ended the first set on an Orange attack error. Louisville hit 452 as a unit in that first game, sir, with a 17 kills.
Yeah.
Very impressive effort.
It's a very good. They claim a capacity of 3,000 for that gym. There's no way. I don't buy it.
Yeah, is that yeah, like people lined up on the sidelines and everything else? And
It must be because it's. I'm trying to get a good picture here. I mean, they're bleachers, so they're not full seats, which helps pack more people in that way.
oh yeah. The bleacher sit-in is kind of a.
There's 9 rows of bleachers along each sideline, and that's the seating. And they're saying that's 3,000. I don't want to be sitting in those bleachers if there's 3,000 people sitting.
You're not buying it, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that maybe just for the fire marshal though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I certainly did not think there was a gym that.
Yeah.
Really held that many, but anyway, the
Yeah.
Cards are comfortable in playing in smaller venues, of course, doing the LNFCU, and were able to win that first set fairly easily, like we mentioned, going into the second set. Uh, yeah, almost the same exact result, a 25-18 win. Louisville actually trailed early in this one, sir. Down 3-2 to the Cards, or up 3-2 on the Cards before Louisville took control. Got a couple nice kills from Charity Looper and Kara Cressy, and were able to kind of battle back and forth with the Cuse there early on. And then the Cards
Yeah.
had a lead 15-11 at the media timeout.
Yeah. It looks like at about 11-9 or so that the Cards really started to assert themselves. Jumped out to 15-11, and then what 18-12. So it really started to get some little runs there put together. Prevented Syracuse from immediately siding out, which is so you don't get you don't necessarily get this huge long run, but you get 3-4, and you're gonna grow that lead out, and basically that's how you take control of a game usually.
Peyton Pearson got some
Peyton
nice
Peterson.
recognition.
Yeah, she came in. They
Yeah,
were yeah they pulled in a lot of players that normally play the bench. We had our normal sort of rotation of middles happening where Pegrin, PK Kong played 2 sets and Hannah Sherman played one. No, I'm sorry, two. So they kind of split time in that second middle position. Peyton came in for a couple. She's been getting some good playing time. It's, you know, she's still a sub. she's definitely behind Charity and Anna, but yeah, she's getting some playing time to get in there, get to develop. She had a minor sprained ankle last weekend, so it seems like she's over that pretty well. So, and then we saw a couple of the DSs that don't usually see on the court all that much. Molly Urban and Sam Unteed come in and played a little bit, so it was good to see them get some time too. Sam is a pretty good server, by the way, so I like seeing her coming in.
Peyton of course, came to campus as an outside hitter.
Yep.
Stands at 5'10", and from
Yeah,
Iowa.
undersized.
They pulled
Yeah.
her in from Dyke New Hartford High School in Iowa.
Yep.
Comes into the Cards.
Where she won 7 Iowa State championships.
Oh my goodness! There's
Yeah.
got to be a. She started in the 5th grade.
No, I think 3 of them were in volleyball and 4 of them were in basketball. So
Oh, okay, all
she
right.
was multi-sport there. And in fact, the last one last year, they won state again and beat out. I don't remember the name of the school in the finals. I don't remember the name of the school they beat, but the that school is led by Chloe Meester, who is a commit for this coming year for the Cards. And they just won the Iowa State volleyball championship like this past week as well. So, yeah, a lot of good Cards volleyball players coming from Iowa recently.
Certainly a state that really backs their women's basketball as well as their
Yeah,
volleyball.
yeah, they do.
The Our good buddy Al Greenert, who used to be the
Yeah.
director of the bands at Louisville, is an Iowan. I guess that'd be the Prince. Iowan. Iowan.
That's good. Iowan, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, Iowan sounds about right, doesn't it? And likes to get back out there from time to time. And he said the attendance at high school events is just incredible. He says he would not believe it, especially for the women's events.
Yeah.
And,
Wikipedia says it's Iowan.
Iowan. Okay.
Yeah. Which
It'll work
makes
for
sense.
me.
Yep.
And always fun to talk to him. I did not see him last night at the KFC Yum Center. A lot of times he will come into games and sit around with the media, or he's not really got any official duties there anymore with the Cards. Pep Band is directed by others, but certainly always fun to talk to him, and it's such a wealth of knowledge, and always interesting discussions with him. And, Daryl and I were actually able to sit there last night with Alex Cubitt, who writes for the Courier Journal, and always fun to talk with her too. But volleyball themselves, I was just kind of reading the article that Case put up and kind of supplementing that a little bit with the article that the Go Cards site came up with. Case obviously goes into a little more detail though, and talked about the Louisville offense being well distributed yesterday, Jeff.
Uh, yeah, you're playing a lot of people, so you get against a less competitive team, so you're able to distribute it around more. And when you're playing a less competitive team, you get the opportunity to kind of run the offense how you want without interruptions from defense as much. So it's not surprising.
There we go. Now he finally added some pictures. I just refreshed my page on it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm script reading right now
Yeah.
since I was unable to. I did not bring it up on my phone because I don't have my phone able to pick up AC Network Extra.
Hmm.
I know that's kind of weird, but it won't.
Weird.
So yeah, uh, I can get ACC Network, but I can't get Extra. So anyhow, the Cards, and just kind of look at these pictures here. They looks like they've got pink sleeves on. How about that?
Yeah, I don't think that's current. I don't think that was from last night.
That's what I'm saying. The other
Yeah,
picture, they're dressed in red. So
yeah,
okay, we did not have a photographer obviously in Syracuse last night to take pictures, but that's the way it goes. One of those things. But kind of impressions on this one, Jeff, from what you got. Reese Robbins came in, had a big night for Louisville as well. Kara Cressy obviously strong in the middle, always 6 kills there. Uh, Kara Cressy had 4 blocks last night too. She's just so valuable to this team.
yeah, absolutely. She's really come on strong. She's really developed a lot of her offense that was a little bit lacking, but then kind of some of her defensive stuff kind of dropped off a little bit on the defensive side of playing in the middle. But yeah, last night had a good showing there, so that's encouraging to see because we need both our middles being able to play both kind of offensively and defensively to do really well.
I sort of expect her to continue to do that and continue to do good things for the Cards as Louisville in the ACC. Obviously, having a very good season and up there sharing time with Pitt at the top of the volleyball standings. Both squads are 11-1 or 12-1 now. Excuse me. Uh, Georgia Tech behind them at a 10-3 record, and then really that's a log jam, Jeff. If you take a look at, I guess what you would consider second place in the conference, since the Cards and Pitt are tied for first, you have got yourself, sir, a
Yeah,
4-team bottleneck
it is. It's a real
for
quagmire in there.
second place.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
a lot of pretty good teams in there. With Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Stanford, and SMU. Those are all really good teams. Stanford's really a very good team. I'm a little surprised that they've lost 3 in conference, to be honest. But various couple of various people have kind of reached up and smacked him. SMU is an upside surprise from preseason. Nobody really expected them to be particularly good, but their team's basically a bunch of graduate student transfers right now. So it's kind of a team got on the open market, team that was gotten on the open market, and so I would not expect that to continue next season, let's say, unless they do the same thing again potentially. So North Carolina's doing well. They've been kind of a mid team in the ACC for a few years. They're having a pretty good year. So they picked up a couple of players from Notre Dame when they had a big exodus up there, and a couple of really good players, and still kind of finishing out those careers. So they're doing a good job there. And Georgia Tech's always a good team. They never seem to reach that absolute top level, but they're always right up there and competitive. So it's definitely a battle there. Yeah, and then another battle for essentially third place with Florida State and Virginia. So yeah, it's interesting watching the ACC standings.
Yeah, that being the top edge of the schedule, and then of course there is the exact extreme of that. You get down to what they call the foundation of the
Yeah,
conference, where you've got oh my gosh, Clemson is 0 for 13.
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. They've never really done much of anything in volleyball, unfortunately. But you think they could. They've got the resources to do it, but
I
they've never
can
seemed to.
remember our good friend Arthur, who unfortunately suffered a stroke about a month ago,
Oh,
and
that's unfortunate. Yeah,
yeah, is unable to really do much of anything. His good buddy Cuz wrote me a little note and said, "Hey, I know you guys probably miss his comments, but
yeah,
uh, he is in a rehabilitation center along with his wife.
yeah,
So their son is basically manning the fort down there in Gurr." But he said, yeah, Clemson, where the actual employees outnumber the fans at volleyball. So said that they had made the drive in one time, and that the people seemed to be shocked that people had come in to
yeah,
actually watch them play volleyball. But no, that's unfortunately Clemson very good in other sports though. So uh, sometimes that's kind of the way it is. But also Virginia Tech down there, never really a strong program. The Cards beat Syracuse, which is a 1-12 team in conference. So, uh, and Notre Dame's the real surprise to me, though. I think they'll Jeff at 2-11.
yeah. They had an implosion about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago when I think it was Debbie Brown was coaching there. And basically, the end of her time there, that just the wheels fell off, and they've never really recovered from that. They're better than they were. They rebuilt it a little bit, but they're definitely still kind of. I feel like they're just rebuilding that program, and it's a real slow rebuild. They haven't had a Danny Busman Kelly come in and say, "All right, we're gonna make this happen and make it happen." So they just haven't had that yet, and I would love to see them end up in a better position, but just hasn't happened yet.
And unfortunate and sad for them that that is the case because obviously, when you take a look at Notre Dame and the wealth of athletics they have up there at that very fine institution, they're usually pretty top notch and pretty daggone good, sir, in
Yeah,
anything that they go to the table on. But yeah, just kind of taking a look here, and man, it's they started out okay until they got into conference play, and then all of a sudden, boom, it did not go so well for them. Maybe they played Indiana back to back. I find that very fascinating. Uh, they played at Indiana, and then Indiana came to play them. Uh,
yeah, you don't see that too terribly often out of conference, but
yeah, that's
yeah,
what I
they
was
did.
thinking.
Yeah, and it's kind of neat to see. I'm sure that's a cool rivalry that they like to work with there.
Oh, I think them and Purdue, but I don't see Purdue is somebody that they played this year. So they went 1-3 at Pitt. Very, very strong team there, of course. And then
Yeah,
uh,
which is, honestly, it's pretty impressive to take a set off of Pitt this year. Like they hadn't. They played Pitt right after we did. Of course, we're travel partners in the ACC, and Pitt had not lost a set at all in Pittsburgh in the season until we went up there and took two off of them. Went 5-set match, and then Notre Dame came in right behind us and took one off of them. So that's actually a pretty good result, to be honest. But that's Pitt's really kind of playing at another level in general.
it is indeed. And that lone set win they had at Pitt, oof. Going back to October the 18th, they lost three when they brought in NC State in a row. Brought in Wake Forest, lost three in a row. Went to SMU and lost three in a row. Then finally got that one win at Pitt. And then
Yeah,
after that, three straight matches where they went 0-3 against the Cards, of course, back in
yeah, back to back.
South. Yeah,
Yeah,
back to back. Yeah. And then at Boston College, where they lost three. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Boston College is they're not a great team, but they're not terrible. So that's not terribly surprising as well. So I do want to share. This is kind of fun. I was not on the show last week, right? Because I was road tripping. Took a
Yes,
day
you were.
trip up to Notre Dame for that second match up there. It's fun. Always a fun trip. What I will say is that the people at Notre Dame are the nicest people I've ever worked interacted with when I go to away matches. Um, they're gracious, they're friendly, they're welcoming, they're really really wonderful. So I will say that about them. Um, one of them recognized me, if you can believe that. One of their ushers. I was talking to him after the match and kind of, milling about, visiting with people, and ended up talking with one of the ushers. And she recognized me. She said, "I'm glad you could make it. I was looking for you." It's like, what? So, it's interesting, leading the cards cheer like I do for volleyball. And I do so when I go to away matches too. I do that as well there. And
Yes, you have been on national television several
yeah,
times, sir.
yeah. And so, like some of these people some of these places where I've been multiple times, I've been to Notre Dame a few times. They kind of start to recognize. Yeah, I mean, I'm a distinctive looking guy in general. Long hair, beard, wearing cargo shorts, even if it's cold out. Yeah, he's like, yeah, okay. I'm memorable, I guess, but yeah, it's kind of weird being that big fish, small pond sort of thing going on.
If you've never met Jeff personally and listening to today's broadcast, all I can tell you is that he's the big guy who charges down the steps and leads the cards cheer and has a good session with the fans around him when he does that. And he does that after an opponent's timeout.
Yep.
Important to note that it's the only time that you will see him come out of his lair
Yeah.
and charge the court, as it were, stopping just short of the actual playing facility. Four. But they now, do you do that on the road though?
Absolutely.
Okay,
It depends upon where I end up sitting. At Notre Dame, I was behind the starting bench for the cards, but there's a series of about 5 or 6 rows in Purcell Pavilion that are basically on the floor. They have very, very low level risers. They're honestly, they're not great seats. I would rather be up a little bit. And so there's those, and then there's the actual permanent sort of seating that's up a level. And I usually kind of sit in that first section of those. And so I'll run down to the front of that section, which means there's still a few rows of people in front of me, but I'm still in front of the bulk of the crowd, and so I'm not quite down right on top of the court like, hey, I'm an LNFCU. The funny thing at LNFCU is I end up when I run down the aisle, right at the front of the aisle that I'm sitting on, is almost always the commentators for the match. So, for like ACC Network, actually, Jeff Milby and stuff, can't wait, right? So I always end up like, I don't know, 3 feet behind them, and a lot of times you can hear me on the broadcast because of that. So
Very, very good, sir. And we do have, we're very fortunate to have some great announcers now for volleyball, and they do a wonderful job with the call. Also, got to see a couple of, well, one U of L announcer and one that's kind of in limbo right now. We're not really sure what Courtney Walton's going to do. I had a chance to kind of sit with Nick last night. Of course, Nick Curran, the wonderful play-by-play radio announcer for Louisville women's basketball, sir. And I asked him, why isn't Courtney doing the broadcast with you? Because they're still trying to work that out because of her new title.
yeah, so she's
Being,
doing a new role with the basketball program too, right?
yeah, she's working as, I think, director of operations, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, that's right. They moved her into director of ops role, which is a great role. It's fantastic for her.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I
yeah,
guess it maybe the duties on that are probably pretty hefty, I would imagine, and may not allow her to actually be
yeah.
able to do the broadcast. I know Adrian Johnson used to be able to pull it off, but I don't know if she was director of
I
ops.
don't think she was director of ops. I think she had a different role.
Yeah, but I think she had something to do with alumni relations or something. But
Yeah,
of course, now an assistant cards coach and does a wonderful job with Louisville as well. But doing that and works with the players quite a bit. Jeff, we've kind of come to see the cards being a block this year as far as what they do when they are on the court playing defense. Wasn't a huge blocking last night though for the Cards. They only had seven, sir.
yeah. It comes and goes a little bit. We're a better team when we block well. That's for sure. But it gets the Syracuse team that's like, yeah, okay. It's just so hard to get up for a lesser competitive team like that. Also, the games tend to be over quicker. You have less chance to. So, you hate to say it that way, but honestly, that's the truth.
Well, with the win, we'll now go to Boston College, where our good friend and co-writer here at Cardinal Couple, Daryl, just came back from. She went up to Boston College for her bachelorette party and actually attended the Boston College Louisville football game up there with her entourage and had a wonderful time. She said she went to Cheers and had a beer at Cheers,
Nice.
but she said it was so crowded in Cheers that she didn't want to stay very long, and she didn't see Norm, although she looked. So a reference to the old Cheers show, of course. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, she was up there and had a good time. But the Cards will go to Boston College now, not to go to Cheers, not even to go throw tea in the harbor, but to play the BC Eagles, a school that is 12-13 on the season, and also 5-8 in the conference. So a kind of mid-level team for Louisville to take on, but certainly one I think that can probably be pretty dangerous uh, on their home court. A team that could probably take a game from anybody if they're so fired up to do it.
Yeah, Boston College is continuing to develop. It's another of those programs. It's kind of been a slow build over the years. In the past few years, a few years ago, it was like, wow, Boston College actually getting kind of decent because they used to just be an absolute doormat of a team. But starting to develop a little bit, grow the program, and improve a little bit. But they're still not going to be powerhouse team, but they're continuing to improve, and it's exciting to see. I mean, obviously, any improvement in the conference helps everybody overall. That whole rising tide sort of thing. So
It will be a 1 p.m. game tomorrow, Sunday, and will be on the ACC Network Extra if you care to watch that one and see how the Cards do up at BC. Certainly always fun to watch them, and always fun to listen to other teams' announcers too when they talk about Louisville. They usually start with the beer and work their way down,
Yeah.
which they rightfully should probably do since she is quite the outstanding player for Louisville. Uh, what else do we want to cover on volleyball, sir, before we change balls and move to a different court?
You know, let's see. I just really kind of feel like it's frustrating a little bit, but I feel like the conference lineup these past couple of weeks has been kind of meh overall. Like there haven't been any all that many really big games. You know, you had last weekend. You had about the only one that was like interesting from a competition perspective. Really, was Miami and Stanford, which was a Miami upset over Stanford in that one. But like otherwise, you got all the good teams are beating up on the mids and the lowers for the most part. Not too many teams really playing competitive. That's just the way the conference schedule worked out. It's going to get heating up again here in another couple of weeks. It's going to get a little bit spicy, so it'll be good to see that happen and get a little more fun. I kind of feel like that's almost a little bit nationally right now that's happening in volleyball. There's not a super large number of really like they started off the season out of conference with all these really amazing matchups, and then kind of got into conference play a few early, and then kind of this mid conference range is like it's just not anything super interesting, but kind of fun. But I'm looking forward to getting back to some spicy matchups as the season starts to wind up. So conferences do this intentionally. They put the really what are expected to be really good matches at the end because of the recency bias of the NCAA selection. So that's not surprising.
And of course, a little bit of that too is, I think, kind of also dictated by the four-letter network
Yeah,
and ACC network, who want to make sure that they've got prime matches available for their viewers when they do show volleyball on their broadcasts. So,
yeah, absolutely. It most definitely is a. They are a part of it for sure, and that's it's understandable.
oh yeah, I think it is too. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of those deals where, yeah, you want to put your best foot forward when you're on a national stage.
yeah,
So certainly, that's what they've done. Louisville last night put their first foot in the Yum Center for the year in basketball,
yeah.
and drew a nice crowd there, sir. You were part of that as well. 7,600 in there. I almost said
7,600.
thousand.
Yeah, it's a little more than I would have thought, but yeah, it's not too terribly surprising.
And certainly a worthy opponent, I think, in Southern Indiana, a team that actually came into this game after scoring 100 points in their last game. We cut them in half this year
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
their second game. They ended up scoring 51 points against the Cards, and Louisville tallied 75 in the win. A contest where it was a close first quarter.
Mhm.
The Cards, and I call them USI, which I think is
Mhm.
a fine short version of their
That
name,
is
Southern
what they
Indiana.
use. So yeah,
Yeah,
University of Southern Indiana, which is in Evansville, by the way, alongside the Purple Aces. So
it is. Yeah,
yeah,
it's one of two in Evansville. That's right, and they're on the actual north side of Evansville. If you've ever been to Evansville, they tend to divide the city into two parts, right where the interstate runs down the middle of the city. There's
hmm,
west side and there's east side of Evansville.
interesting.
But this is actually up in the northern part, over on the west side. A very nice kind of rustic little campus up there that is fun to go visit. We were able to actually go there one time and watch a basketball game years ago. But anyway, uh, the Cards came out a little bit. I don't know if it was nervous or whether it was just trying to get their feet wet or whether they were just kind of in a react mode. But actually trailed them for a little bit in the first quarter before taking a 22-21 lead, and then all of a sudden it was as if somebody had turned on the bright lights and said, "Hey, guess what? Time for y'all to wake up and go to work." And they kind of put it to the Screaming Eagles, sir, putting a 21-4 quarter on them and going into halftime of 43-25. And we were all pretty comfortable that a win was ensuing after that strong second quarter. Uh, they just looked incredible. They looked like a team in mid-season, Jeff, in that second quarter.
Yeah, there were certainly some things that need to be cleaned up, but there was a lot about it that looked pretty good. That I think they're in good shape for early season. There's a lot to work on, but there's a lot of time, obviously, to work on it. And this is a typical Jeff Walls approach, in that you start out the season and then it's like, wow, this team looks really rough, and then by the end of the season, they're like, yeah, yeah, all right, look pretty good, all right. That's what you expect out of Walls, and I think that's what we're going to get again this year.
Coach Walls was quite blunt and frank about the performance. He said, "We had a horrible practice the day before the game." He said it was a poor shoot around entering into the game, and he kind of had to clean house a little bit and get with them and say, "Hey, after that first quarter, is this the team you want to be?
Yeah,
Or are you going to play like Louisville?" And the Cards did respond to it after that slow first quarter. And actually, if you look at it, they led 7-2 in this thing early. Okay, but give USI credit, and especially I want to call her out. Give their little point guard, number 11, Ali Saunders, all the credit in the world. This little girl was just tough as nails, and at 5'10" was going up against the I'm going to call them bigger and more muscular Cardinal guards, because this little girl was just a wisp of hair and some bones, and ended up scoring 15 points against the Cards, uh, going 7 for 15 from the floor, and had 4 rebounds. If you could grab a player off another team and put her on the Louisville roster, I pick her.
yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot of other players nationally that I would pick before her, but she certainly did, show up and play well, and no give up. I think I don't remember. I don't remember if you said her height. Is she attack Yorkie qualified?
She was
Pretty.
5'10",
Oh,
but
5'10". Oh, okay.
she was a very skinny 5'10".
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
And not
she
not
didn't.
qualifying for an attack Yorkie, but
No, didn't make
certainly
the
the spirit of.
yeah. In the spirit of attack Yorkies, yes, that's
Yeah.
true. Uh, Speaking of attack Yorkies, I did see our attack Yorkie last night at the game, sir. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, sure did. When we were checking in with the boys over there at the media pass area, where I always have such fun going in there and talking to Ron and Eddie. Uh, when I just walk by them, they hand out credentials to people
Yeah.
that are there to cover the game, and of course, I've already got mine, and so I
Sure.
just walk by and say hi to him, and we shoot the bull a little bit, and I check on Eddie's wife and see how things are going, and then guess who pops around the corner? But it's Jess.
Jess
Yes,
Lumley. Yeah.
it sure was.
Or wait, she's married now, right? It's
She
different.
is married, and they
Different
were
last name.
carrying a cute little baby boy.
Ah.
Yes, they were,
Well,
and so
congratulations to them.
I, I said, and then I had to get it. I said, "So you've got a little attack Yorkie now?" And she got a big kick out of that.
Yeah.
And she was laughing. She goes, "Yeah, you know, she's a McDaniel now, sir."
Daniel, that's the name. That's right. Yeah.
Yes, and happily married, cute little baby there. And uh, I said, you just need to go out there and put on a uniform and get back out there and teach these guards something, Jess. She
Yeah.
laughed. She said, "It's been 5 years since I've touched a basketball. Can you
Yeah.
believe it?"
I know, right?
Life catches up with you, though. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
We do have 2 players on our roster this year that do qualify to be attack Yorkies, and I think one is certainly going to be a bona fide. And, Jada Curry is at 5'6". She meets that cutoff,
Yes.
and she plays like it. So I think she's probably going to be a bona fide win. And then we've got a true freshman, Rebecca Graves, who I don't know we've seen on the court yet, but we'll see how she develops over time. So.
Yeah. She did not see time last night, unfortunately, but she is. Then of course, Jada is out with a hamstring right now, so we don't have a definite time of her return. When asked about it last night in the post game presser, Jeff just actually kind of scowled at the question asker. He goes, if I could predict hamstrings, I certainly wouldn't be a coach. I'd be a physician.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to ask. I usually, if I'm going to ask a coach something like this, do you have any update on this? Or is it just still too early to be seen? But yeah,
But yeah, certainly that's basically what he segued into after that. It was like he says, "Well, it's a hamstring. It takes time.
yeah,
We don't want to bring her back too early and have her hurt her the rest of the season.
yeah, absolutely,
We want her to completely heal." He says, "Right now, we're fortunate in the fact that we've got depth."
yeah,
And certainly they do. If you take a look at last night, the Walls played 13 players,
yeah,
and the only one that, like we mentioned, were the two that didn't get in. She was injured, and the other one. But the uh, guard crew, Reagan Bender, the Sacred Heart graduate,
I'd say a little bit in there, yeah,
came in and gave us a strong 15 minutes. Although she did not actually put any points on the board, uh, and it was kind of said she ended up taking 5 3-pointers. None of them
yeah,
quite went in. Uh,
yeah. One
little,
one
little
was
bit
way
short.
off, but yeah,
But only had one turnover and did have a steal. So uh, ended up
yeah,
with a plus minus on the actual designation at the end of the game. Of course, all the cards except for Anaya Hardy and Isosa Infayadon. And I know I stumbled over that last
yeah.
name, but
Emma Fidon.
Emma Fiden? Emma Fiden?
It's
Yeah, we'll have to look for the
yeah.
pronunciation on that.
I'm just not sure where the emphasis is. I'm trying to get the emphasis on the right syllable, right?
Yeah, there you
So,
go. She is Nigerian,
yep.
and over here in
Fairly international team for us this year, a little more than usual, I think.
indeed it is,
Yeah,
sir.
it's
Yeah,
we got 4
absolutely.
international players this year. So Emma Fidden is one, as you mentioned, in Nigeria. And then let's see, Isla Jeffermans out of Australia. Of course, Marissa Russell, that has been on the team for quite a while,
Canadian.
is
Yep.
Canadian, yeah. And then Ilifistam
The elf.
Dang it!
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still Istanbuloglu.
Instant Boogaloo.
Yeah, is
I
from
just
Turkey.
called her the elf.
So yeah,
And I actually got to see the elf last night too when
yeah.
she went over to sign autographs.
She's developing pretty well as a player, I think. She's just a sophomore
She
this year, so she's still got
came
some
in and
time.
gave
But
Walls, I think, very, very
yeah,
strong 9 minutes last night.
yeah, a little shorter
Had 4
9 minutes.
rebounds in 9 minutes. That's not bad.
Yeah,
Made 2 out of her 3 shots
yep.
and was also involved on the defensive end with 5 fouls. No, not 5
No,
fouls. 2 fouls. I'm sorry.
2
2
fouls. Yeah,
fouls.
nothing in the hustle stats. I'd love to see a little more there, but it's okay. It's not a bad outing for her.
2 turnovers as well. No turnovers for her. I'm sorry.
No,
So, yeah, impressed with her play. Certainly was impressed with her play when she and Walls were together in Paris over there playing.
yep.
And I think she's going to be a very strong addition to this team. Uh,
Yeah,
I was
certainly in the coming years. We'll see how much she really contributes this year. It's definitely an improvement over last year, but still some development to be done there, I think.
It was also very happy to see uh, Issa Jeffermans get in and get 13 strong minutes as well. She ended up with
Yeah,
5 points and ended up with 2 rebounds as well. She's a very strong player that uh, can. I mean, she's unmistakable on the court. She's this big, tall, white girl who's
yeah.
got some nice size to her, and she will mess you up a little bit if you try to invade in her space. So,
I
one that
uh, I will say I did. I'm sitting up in row CC, so I'm a little farther back, but I did occasionally have to double check to make sure that I was distinguishing between Jeffermans and Bender. They're both you know white girls with blonde hair, and in row CC, that's about as specific as you can get.
about the yeah, I guess because the height differential isn't that dramatic to you that
No, not at that
when you're up
level.
that high. Yeah,
Yeah. So you start to learn as but like both these two players are both brand new to this. So but over time you start to you see to recognize their movements and their body language and how they play and you start recognizing it that way. But like initially it's just like, okay, she's white, she's got blonde hair and a ponytail. Okay, that's the starting point. Now, how do you go from there?
that's true. We in media coverage of these, we sit underneath the end zone,
Hmm.
and we are. If you put us like on a clock at 6 o'clock, the visitors' bench is at about I would say what 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock from us. It's to our right, and we were able to actually hear quite a bit of what was going on and things that were happening and stuff like that. And I'll give Southern Indiana a lot of credit, Jeff. No matter what the score, no matter what their team's doing, they are very loud in support of their players out on the court.
Yeah, that's great to see. We saw that from our bench as well, a fair bit. But yeah, it was really it's always great to see that from any team. It's always a team you can get behind a little more because you feel like the culture there is positive and supportive, which is great.
Indeed.
Contrast that to Auburn's men's basketball team.
Oh, yeah,
Hear,
well, let's
hear
get
that
on the plane
story?
and fight each other.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that's
Guys
oof.
have been watching a little bit too much WWE, haven't they?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So anybody hasn't heard the story, apparently they were on the plane to go to Houston to play a game there. I don't know. I guess this was a charter plane. I don't know, but got in a fight. They were on the plane between the team members, and pilot turned the plane around, went back to Auburn. So yeah, uh, you kind of think the culture there is maybe a little problematic.
yeah. And see, that's the thing. People should not get upset about receiving in-flight nuts.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I
because,
mean, if you've got a nut allergy,
but if the guy happened to get cashews next to you and you got almonds, there is no reason for you to get upset. And I
yeah,
need to emphasize that to the Auburn squad.
yeah.
But
Yeah, he knows what the backstory is on that, but it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
I'm sure it'll come out in time.
yeah,
But just having fun role playing with the
oof,
scenario a little bit.
yeah,
Says, wait a second, I ordered the scotch.
yeah.
No, no, I'm not drinking this.
Uh,
But it was fun. But yeah, I did get a chance to, like I said, talk with McDaniel a little bit last night. Just at McDaniel, and she was always just as gracious as ever. It was just so fun. So, well, what a great ambassador she is for this basketball program too.
yeah,
And would certainly like to see Louisville get her a lot more involved in things, and certainly when they do the broadcast on, I guess ACC Network Extra was it last night? Maybe they were on.
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
not sure.
I didn't either because I was there, but anyway, she's always just such a fun one. Did not get to
Yeah,
see the mayor last night though, and his lovely wife, Mayor for Life, Jerry Abramson. They weren't in attendance, which is always kind of sad, but always like to talk to them. But one of
yeah.
the
It was ACC Network Extra. Yeah, I think
yeah
if Jess is doing the color commentary, I think it's always ACC Network Extra.
yeah, I
So,
think that's the one that they
but
bring her in for.
yeah,
Uh,
She does a good job with it. It's I always like hearing her.
yeah, and she knows the game inside out.
She knows the game well. She speaks well. As I stumble over my words. She speaks well. She's got a good presence. So yeah, I think she does a great job.
I always look forward to having her do that. But after that halftime lead, Louisville kind of blew it out a little bit further in the third quarter, sir. The 19-11 edge, and then in the fourth quarter with Walls deep into the bench, as it were,
Yeah.
and playing a lot of players who may not see as much time in the regular season in closer games, but as Wall said last night, I had the opportunity to get them in,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I wanted them to play and get the
Absolutely.
experience.
Get them some opportunity and a little bit of development time, and that actual game time play is invaluable. It's and maybe if you're out there and you're floundering a little bit playing that way, you may get a little flustered with it, but it's a great uh, you know experience to get out there and go for it.
It is indeed, and Louisville actually, was well. Let's put it this way: the Cards were up 72-40 with 4 minutes and change to go, and ended up winning 75-51. So a little bit of a letdown or drop off in production in those last 5 minutes, let's call it, but understandably so because Walls had pretty much cleared the bench
Yep.
and turned them loose out there to go out and do what they will do. Only coming up with 2 points that actually came from a player I really like a lot and I think has a lot of potential in Anaya Hardy out of Detroit. Ended up getting the Cards alone 2 points in those last 4 minutes and change when she hit a nice jumper in the paint. Actually, it was a second chance. She grabbed a rebound and then went back up and put it back in after Bender missed a shot. But uh, so 1-1 now. Certainly, we're happy to see it. Glad to have the Cards, you know, uh, back over here, safe and sound, and ready to go with the rest of the season and the schedule as it lays out. Of course, the big one comes up soon, Jeff. The Cats up in Lexington at
Yeah.
Memorial.
Yeah. So they are doing it more. I haven't looked at the schedule, so they are doing it more.
Yeah,
What's up? Obviously, it has been done. They do go on the road first. Well, that is on the road, but they have another road game first. UT Martin on Tuesday, which we shouldn't overlook. That's like I described that Miami in volleyball. They reach up and punch people periodically. That's UT Martin in my mind, right? Occasionally, uh, they they punch above their weight. So got to think
indeed.
about that one.
The
But
last
then,
time that the Cards were down there, they survived a double overtime
yeah,
against the Skyhawks.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. But then, yeah, Saturday, week from today in Lexington at the newly renovated. Hopefully, it's done by now. It wasn't when we were there for volleyball. But
Jared seems to think so.
yeah, there was a few behind the scenes things I think that were not quite complete yet. But really nice renovation. Got to give them credit. It is air conditioned now. Not that that's going to matter in mid November, or it shouldn't matter in mid November, but. Opportunity to see a couple of good teams down there, and we'll see what Kenny Brooks can do with them. So,
Absolutely one of our
first
favorite
season there.
coaches from the
Yeah.
ACC. Now, he's now a villain. I can't believe it.
Yep.
But have had some great times with Kenny when he was at Virginia Tech, and now it'll be interesting to see what he does with this not only Kentucky squad, but with this Kentucky fan base. So it'll be an interesting journey down
Yeah.
that path, as they say, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
But hey, we are rolling up on the noon hour, so it's been a fun broadcast today, and let's go ahead and I guess maybe segue into some final thoughts here. I'll let you go ahead and start it out.
Yeah, looking forward to volleyball picking up. Like I said earlier, a little bit more, hopefully some more spicy sort of matches going on. We're getting well, thoroughly into conference season at this point. We've got, we got North Carolina coming in next weekend, and then I'll be leaving right after that the next morning. I'm going to a conference that week. So, but I will not miss any volleyball matches, so that's nice. But yeah, gonna North Carolina could be be a pretty competitive matchup there. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely a tough one for the Cards. Let's hope that they can pull through on it. The beer and company take to the court. For me, final final thoughts here. Kind of a fun exchange I had with Jeff Walls post press conference last night. Uh, our esteemed colleague Daryl Faust is getting married on New Year's Eve, and we'll be doing this at the Glassworks. Very nice facility here in
It is.
town,
It's
down
very cool.
West Market. Yeah, just a great place to have any type of venue. They're actually having the ceremony as well as the reception there, and the dinner is to boot. So it's nice enough, Daryl, to invite me to that, and also had a invitation for Jeff Walls,
Nice.
but was kind of afraid to take it to him. But I said, "No, Daryl, he'll be fine. Take it on up there." So after his presser, she ran up to him and handed him the invitation and talked with him just briefly. And then they came walking back out past where I was seated to leave. And I mentioned to Walls, I said, "Hey, if you show up, you can sit at my table." Well, that opened him up.
Is
He
that a threat?
said, he,
You know?
he, he said, "Paul, you're going to be, oh, I can't make that then. There's
Yeah.
no way." And then I came right back on him, though. I said, "I don't care if you show up or not. Just send your wife, please."
Yeah.
So,
Lauren will class the place up.
absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah.
said, "She's sitting at my table."
Yeah.
And but he got a big kick out of that, slapped me on the shoulder, and left the room. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it's just to show that our coach is accessible, and our
Yeah.
coach has definitely got a sly wit of humor. Some might even call it kind of sarcastic, but
Yeah.
a fun guy to be with. But we're not sarcastic. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast today. We had a lot of fun with it, and uh, we'll see what we've got in store for you next Saturday. Until then, I just kind of want to thank Jeff for being in here with me today as we went back to a return of the old days, back when we used to do our broadcast with a dog and a pumpkin. Oh, it was the same thing. Pumpkin was the dog.
Yeah.
But
I don't like it when Case is here because this means I have to edit it for the podcast too.
yeah, I don't know what he had going on today.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But something that, fall Saturdays, always weird stuff going on. So,
But certainly thank everybody for listening today. Jeff's going to take care of all that stuff, and
yep.
uh, we'll catch everybody next week. Take care and have yourself a great rest of the weekend.